right, guys, it's Wednesday. It's March 18th, and today we're going to do a little lesson on theme. This is continued from last week. Remember how different last week was? It was way different than this week. So I brought home our anchor chart. Our anchor chart says that theme is the message about life or human nature. It's expressed in a sentence, not one word. And we talked about how to figure out theme is to look at the title, important statements in the text, the character's thoughts and actions, and the overall plot. So I posted the link to the text of The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1. So if you haven't read that, it's a video that has the audio and the text together. So it's the best of both worlds. If you haven't read it yet, then go ahead and click pause on this because this video is for after you've read The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1. So today we're just going to take a few minutes to talk about the theme of Act 1 so far. And in class last week, we talked about how the theme of the play is that people are essentially good, and also that in times of hardship, that people can be the best version of themselves. And so we're going to think about today looking at Anne, only Anne for right now. She's our main character. She's the central character. Are there any actions of Anne's, thoughts of Anne's, anything else you can think of regarding to Anne that shows us that that is the theme? So I would encourage you to take a little, some notes, grab a piece of paper if you have paper, and make a little graphic organizer, a bubble chart with Anne in the middle, or these are also called like spider charts. So I'm going to think about what does Anne do in the rest of Act 1 that shows us that people are essentially good, that she's an example of a character whose actions reveal that theme to us, the reader. And one thing I'm thinking about is how when Mr. Dussel came to join them, Mr. Dussel, the dentist, and he didn't have any place else to go, Mr. Frank allowed him to join their secret annex right away, like without even thinking about it. And Anne was also super nice about this because she immediately said, without arguing, that she would be willing to share her room with Mr. Dussel. And then additionally, when Mr. Dussel hears that Anne and Margot had this arrangement where Anne would work in the morning and Margot would work in the evening in their room so that they could each have some privacy, you might remember that Mr. Dussel says something like, well, I'm not really a morning person. And Anne says, oh, that's okay. Then I'll take the morning and you can have the room in the afternoon. So on my graphic organizer, on one of my spider legs here, or webs, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a web. All right. I'm going to write down that she shares a room with Mr. Dussel. And that she changes her schedule to accommodate Mr. Dussel. Accommodate has 2 C's and 2 M's. All right, so think to yourself, what else happens in Act 1 that shows us that Anne is a good example of the theme, that people are essentially good, and that in times of hardship, people can be the best versions of themselves. So let's think about that for a second. The very last scene of Act 1 takes place during Hanukkah, and Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday. It falls about the same time as Christmas, and like Christmas, there's some gift giving traditionally, 1 present a night for 8 nights, small presents. And Anne really surprises everyone by making something for everyone. Everyone in the annex got a present from Anne. And that would be another example, something else we could add to our web. That even in this time where there's no extra money, there's, she can't go shopping. She had to scrimp and save and make things, herself to give everyone a present, which was super sweet. So I would add that to my web, that Anne made presents for everyone at Hanukkah. My handwriting is even worse than it is when we're normally in room 209. I'm not even sure if you can read that. Annabelle made presents. Not Annabelle, that's my daughter. Anne made presents for everyone at Hanukkah. What else? What else is there that shows us that Anne is basically good and is the best version of herself even during this difficult time? I have one more. There's a selection, and there's a section in Act 1 where Anne talks about how every night when she writes in her diary, she thinks about everything she did that day, and she evaluates how she could be a better person. So she thinks she gave the example of how she played a trick on Mr. Dussel and put a wet mop in his bed, which doesn't sound like a very funny trick. But she was like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, that was something I shouldn't have done. I'm going to try not to do that tomorrow. So basically every day she reflects on her day and thinks about what she could do differently and how she could be a better person for the next day, which in her situation, that's pretty remarkable, right? That a 12-year-old girl would, during this difficult time where she can't go outside, she can't see her friends, she can't go to school, she's worried about, staying alive. Here she is thinking about how she can be a better person. So I'm going to add that to my web. Every night, Anne reflects on how she could be a better person. And remember, all of these things go along with the theme. I'm going to erase these webs here and just write our theme real quick. So if you haven't written down your theme somewhere in your notes or on a piece of paper, go ahead and do that. So theme 1, people are essentially good. Wow, my handwriting's really bad. And in difficult times, people can be the best version of themselves. Do you want to see my messy writing? There it is. I will try and be neater next time. Okay, so your next job, the next thing that you'll see on the Google Classroom is Act 2. There's going to be hopefully 2 ways to access that text. I think I linked your textbook to your Clever account. So if you want to play around with that, under where it says Core Resources, you should see something that says Holt Literature Online. It's a square icon, and you should be able to click on that. And then you're given 3 book choices, grade 6, 7, and 8. You're going to click on grade 8. Grade 8. And you'll be able to access the text from there. I'll also look for an audio version that you guys can listen to if you prefer that. So stay tuned for that. That will be our next thing. Keep working on your IXL. Keep working on your work packet. If you have any questions, send me an email, drop me a line, my school email address, or csweetnitch@gmail.com. I think we can also communicate through Google Classroom or ClassDojo. So just, drop me a line, let me know that you're okay. I hope that this video finds you safe and healthy and happy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.